Good morning. Welcome to my ride to work. This morning we're on an electric bike. So, compared to my Winter Wonderland commuting videos, we're now dealing with almost spring-like conditions. Most of our snow is melted. It was really icy, and we will come across ice. But actually, there's a ridge of ice right here. We're gonna have to lower the seat on this bike shortly. The last time I rode this bike, I was using clipless pedals, and it was in the fall. And today we're using platforms, and the seat seems way too high. So when we get to this next stop sign, we're gonna stop and lower the seat. Much better. So we're riding a Gopro Steak T, it's called. It's just a 350 watt, 36 volts rear hub drive e-bike. Got it for what I consider was a very, very good price. And this is all lumpy, bumpy ice. I'm gonna try and stay in these car tire tracks here. We're gonna slow down, it's too fast. Yeah, so it's a 350 watt hub drive that I got for a good price. It came with this horrific adjustable stem. I just swapped that out for a normal stem, and it came with horrific handlebars, and I swapped them out for normal handlebars. And now the bike is awesome. It's just a basic e-bike, no front suspension. It's a rigid fork, nicely integrated battery. So it's actually a really nice looking bike. It looks more expensive than it is aesthetically. Now we have Slowly Ice Spiker Pros. So we're breaking through this stuff, and it's causing us some control issues. It has the usual cheap things about it, like just mechanical brakes, not hydraulic. It has this horrible 7-speed shifter. It has like a thumb shifter on top, and you push the bottom shifter with your thumb. You also push the top shifter with your thumb. Yeah, so we have Schwalbe Ice Biker Pros. They're not like an e-bike version or anything. They're like, I think, the lightest version you can buy, because that's what the shop in town here had in stock. They were expensive, but he gave me a reasonably good price on a pair, so I scooped them up. I have 4 different bikes that these tires will fit on, so they'll see a decent amount of use. Schwalbe Ice Bikers are like the overkill studded tire. I think these things have like, I don't know, something like 400 studs. Schwalbe Ice Biker is what you get when you want grip above all else. Grip on ice above all else. Coming up on somebody walking here. I have 45 North Nicotines, and I think 45 North Kava, is that how you pronounce that tire? And they're like a little bit of a compromise studded tire. They're not maximum grip on ice. They compromise a little bit for rolling resistance and grip on ice. They'll still save your ass. This bike is a 27.5, and the tires are 27.5 by 2.25. Oh yes, we're going to be able to cross. We beat that light, which is nice. People come out of that street super aggressive. The stop sign is like behind this lane, but people don't stop behind the lane, they stop past the lane. Okay, so we're gonna drop into some darkness here. So we're running a different light setup than my previous 2 vlogs. Now we're running 2 Lazine Classic, well, 2 Lazine Classic XL 700s and 2 Classic 500s, I think they're called. So one's a 700 lumen, one's 500 lumen. We're running the 700s at 700 and the 500s at 200. And yeah, these 700s have a good amount of light. They definitely throw further into the distance than the Lysines I had in my other video, but their battery life is bad, especially when it's colder, and it's not even really cold today, so we'll see. Say it's probably actually above freezing or hovering around freezing. So now this section of path is all packed ice. Because it's hidden from the sun, so it stays icy even when it's melted elsewhere. We have the bike on level 3 power assist, which is 25 kilometers an hour, which actually feels really fast because you've been riding a fat bike pretty much exclusively. Your average speed is probably 10 kilometers an hour slower than that. So 25k an hour right now feels really fast. And it is reasonably fast to be riding on ice, which is what we're riding on right now. Yeah, so we had total winter wonderland conditions. I was excited about making videos, and part of the reason is that I make videos in the winter is they're aesthetically pleasing. They're beautiful to look at when you're riding with tons of snow around. But now it's getting into that spring-like feel. It's brown, more brown than white. Doesn't make for good visually appealing videos. And I have too much air in these tires. The ride is super bumpy, but I don't think I'm going to stop to lower it. I will for the ride home. If you like e-bikes, you'll definitely like them even more in any sort of wintry condition. They make you definitely superhuman in winter conditions. Okay, so now we're on our university property. have these lights, the rubber band on these lights tight enough for the 500s to falling forward. Okay, we're going to stop and adjust these lights. Anyways, it'll give you a chance to take a look at the Z-Bike. GoTrack City. Cheap e-bike with expensive studded tires. Okay, let's see if we can adjust these to the second rubbers. Should make them better. Yeah, that should be a little bit better. So yeah, it's just below freezing. It's minus 0.3 according to my Garmin. And it's going to go above freezing now for multiple days. For all these great videos I was going to make, now can't really make them because the conditions aren't good. So we got a decent dump of snow, and there's no snow in the forecast. In fact, it's supposed to start raining tonight. So this is all lumpy, bumpy ice, covered in sand. Like most cheap e-bikes, this only has a cadence sensor, so there's like a delay. So when you stop pedaling and the motor cuts out, when you start pedaling, it takes a few seconds before the motor kicks in, which is annoying. So this is packed ice trail, and it's getting bumpy now because since it's softened up during the day and people's footprints are sinking in, and now it's gotten cold enough that it's kind of frozen. It's gotten lumpy as hell. Bumpy, lowering our tire pressure would have been nice. speaking of that, I've seen numerous videos on YouTube of people using studded tires and getting to ice, or saying that if they wanted more grip on ice, they would lower their tire pressure, which in my experience is actually the opposite of what you want to have happen, because as someone who has experience with studded fat bike tires, I believe the physics don't change. When you lower the tire pressure on a studded tire, you're basically spreading out your weight, spreading out the tire, and you're putting less weight and less pounds per square inch pushing down on the studs. So you're better off just maintaining a higher pressure if you're looking for a grip on ice. I mean, if you're lowering your tire pressure because it's bumpy and you want the comfort, then 100% do that, but it will probably result in a reduction in the grip of your studs. This has been my experience of riding to work in the wintertime with studded tires for over 20 years. I've been using studded tires for probably 30 years. Back in the days when the only studded tires you saw at stores were the Nokia ones, and then when Schwab became on the scene, these ice bikers. I'm sure there were other brands, but Canadian distributors didn't sell tons of them. Supposed to drizzle all day today, but it's not drizzling right now, so that's a good thing. This may have been the wrong bike to ride today. Hopefully it's not raining when I go home. You know what, since our average speed is going to be so much higher than when we ride a fat bike, we're going to actually add distance. We're gonna add distance to our route here now. Yeah, so Rocky Mountain Bicycles is in trouble. You know, they were the premier Canadian brand in the 90s. I got to ride a race on some of the nicest Rocky Mountains, the nicest Rocky Mountains from the 90s. My first true mountain bike was a Rocky Mountain Hammer. And it was actually the season that I bought one. It actually came with like first gen drift shift. It wasn't owned by SRAM, it was owned standalone company. And you can use the grip shift for like a couple months, and if you didn't like it, you could switch to thumb shifters. And yeah, I used the grip shift for a month or so, and then switched to the thumb shifters. I didn't like that first gen stuff. And then on that bike, the Rocky Mountain Hammer, I bought the first Manitou suspension fork, which in my opinion is the most aesthetically pleasing suspension fork ever. It was just black and silver. Looked freaking awesome. And by modern standards, that thing's a joke, but it seemed like a revelation at the time. Felt like one. We had a downhill race here at one of our ski hills, which basically just came down the service road to the top, which was like scary because that's how downhills were back those days. It was about the high speeds. It was about how fast you could go. None of this technical stuff that they have now. And I was the only person there with a front suspension, and I won that race. And I'm pretty sure it was because of that shock, that rudimentary shock. But it made enough of a difference that it gave me the edge. So I found a lot of the Rocky Mountain catalogs from the 1990s on the web. So I'll post the link to the PDF files of the catalogs from the 90s in the description here. So from that Rocky Mountain Hammer, I went to Rocky Mountain Altitude, which was a beautiful steel frame, handmade in BC, and it was the first year that race face parts came out. So when race face parts first came out, they were like totally Gucci, like only high-end shit. Only the top of the line bikes had any race face parts on them. And at that time I started racing the US Midwest, and so I'd go down there with that Rocky Mountain Altitude, and Americans would just drool over that bike because it was like a forbidden fruit that they couldn't get easily or couldn't get at all. This was very beginnings of the internet. There was no online shopping. And then from there, I ended up getting an Altitude TO, and the TO stands for team only, which was like, so it was their actual race bike, and their racing team used that bike. So it was the Altitude frame, beautiful steel frame, all decked out, race face, XCR, Madura hydraulic brakes, so hydraulic, I guess cantilevers. Are they cantilevers? They weren't cantilevers because they were just hydraulic push-in brakes. But yeah, no, you should be able to see all these bikes. Maybe I'll put a description as to which bikes I managed to ride and race, so you can find them in there. But then after the Altitude, I started riding the Vertex team onlys, which were the aluminum. So basically the same spec as the Altitude TO, race face everywhere. Oh, and Synchros. This is when Synchros was an independent brand and Gucci level. They weren't quite as Gucci level as race face when race face first came out, but super desirable. Americans, when I went to the US Midwest, they would drool over Synchros parts in the 90s. So I got a bunch of Vertex TOs. At the time I was working at a bike shop, and when I started winning races, not to brag, but I dominated the racing series here, the weeknight mountain bike races. Yeah, basically every season I got to order a bike, and they would just let me ride it and race it for free, and then we would just sell it in the off season because we bought it under a staff purchase plan. so they got it for a big chunk off wholesale. So usually broke even or maybe made money off the sale. Of course, the bike was ridden hard and race hard. Okay, we've done 29 minutes, 45 seconds. We've done 11.8 kilometers, and we're at 80% on the battery. Cold temps aren't good for your range. Not that these are particularly cold. I'm sure the extra rolling resistance of the studded tires doesn't help. Yeah, in the 1990s, Rocky Mountain was like a super desirable brand of bikes. In Canada, probably even more so in the United States, since they weren't easy to get. And those were the days when you'd go in your bike shop and grab catalogs. Was the catalog's in yet? The catalog's in yet? And take them home and drool over them. I keep forgetting this thing has a throttle. This bike also has a throttle, and it works from zero, from a standstill. Some e-bikes go, you'll get them where, in Canada anyways, the throttle won't work until the bike's going a few kilometers an hour. Is, I guess, supposed to be a safety thing, but if anything, it's dangerous to be able to use the throttle from a dead stop. Helps you get across intersections safely. Okay, here's another side street that'll be all broken up ice that might be difficult to traverse because it'll be breaking apart under our tires. Well, it's not so bad. Here's up here. I'd like to actually go down to level 2 on the pedal assist, but with winter gloves on, you can't even press the buttons. They're too small. So I'm just accelerating and then squeezing the brakes to cut out the motor. All right. on the wide open roads. So yeah, on level 3 we're going 25, a little bit over 25 kilometers an hour, which, like I said, average speed through the winter is usually quite slow. This feels really fast, but not velocitized to it. Battery's at 70%. So I did use this in the fall and late summer, riding back and forth from work. I did do some little bit longer rides on the way home. Like, so with the full pedal assist at the highest level, yeah, you might actually be able to get 2 hours out of this bike. I do like hour 40, hour 45-minute rides on the way home, and I'd have like 30% battery left. It's not a really big battery. Heart rate is 125 beats a minute, which is not that high, but I did nothing for like 2 days in terms of physical exercise. So always when I jump back on the bike after, you know, I'd say 48 hours of inactivity, it feels weird. Body reacts weird, so heart rate really doesn't match my perceived exertion. The other thing with the e-bike, when you're riding an e-bike below freezing, you definitely have to dress warmer because you're generating wind chill that doesn't match how hard you're going. Okay, so one of our lights, these XL 700s, it's already gone to 50%, and it's only been on for not even 40 minutes. It's supposed to have 2-hour run time. Which is fine, as long as I get an hour out of them. It's basically the longest ride to work I'll do. And then if there was tons of snow around, you wouldn't need to run them at 700. I could run them at the next step down is 400, and it supposedly gets 4 hours of run time at 400. I got these things on clear out. I think I paid $30-something each for the 700s and 20-something for the 500s. And this 700 light, I think, is almost now sells for almost $100 in Canada. So, a good deal on them. I always run at least 2 lights. If I buy a light, I buy 2 of them. Why would you just buy one? My experience, especially dark pavement, you need more than one light. Unless you're running some crazy 2,000, 3,000, 4,000 lumen light. lot of traffic already this morning, considering it's the day after Boxing Day. There are a lot of people have this week off work. Where I work, we have these different vacation blocks. Summertime, it's done by seniority. So I'm top seniority in my classification, so I get first pick on summer vacation until I retire. But then Christmas, it goes into a rotation to try and allow everybody to occasionally get Christmas off. Of course, this is a female run organization, so they would think that way. If it was a male run organization, it would probably be seniority 100% of the time, all the time. Alright, we just made some tweaks to add distance. And we're basically at work. Wanted to do a minimum of 40 minutes, and we're at 41. All right. So yeah, I don't know what I'm gonna do when it comes to making videos, because riding conditions aren't fantastic. Might this weekend go do some check out some gravel roads this weekend on this bike, because they should still be solid ice this weekend. So stay tuned for more videos. Hopefully we get some snow soon so we can go back to Winter Wonderland videos. Thanks for watching. Bye.